2023 when I was out at this very spot, Marina del Rey, in December. 49ers were in the midst of a season that would lead them to the Super Bowl, and it was very quiet on this beach. It still is quiet. It's August, and we got a 49ers update. Why not feature the solar flare and a beautiful Southern California sunset? I think 7:36 is the sunset time. So here we go before I head out to dinner. Vita Vea has agreed to an extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he had a year left on his deal. The Bucs said that they didn't want to trade him, and it appears they didn't want to trade him, and there was a price to make Vita Vea happy. They tacked on $30 million for the 2027 season, so he's now under contract for 26 and 2027. So the Vita Vea dream, at least for 2026, all but extinguished. Mike texted me and he said, hey, if the Bucs aren't very good, can they still turn around and trade him this year? Sure, I mean, there'd be more team control, and so maybe you could get a better trade return, but Tampa Bay is going to be even less likely to want to part ways with Vita Vea because they just paid him. They said they added $6 million new money this season. I don't know what the exact specifics are, but he had been set to make $18 million this year, so basically he's making $24 million this year, and it sounds like $30 million next year. They split the difference between 24 and 30 on the average, probably $27 million a year. For a guy on the wrong side of 30, makes sense. The dream of him playing 6.5 miles away from where he went to high school. He went to high school in Milpitas, close to Levi Stadium. That dream, for now, at least, is over. So where do the 49ers go from here? Because, you know, I was talking yesterday on the Manhattan Beach Pier, just a few miles south of here. I was talking about the entire defensive line, and I don't think they're setting edges well right now without Nick Bosa, and without Keon White, without Michael Williams, the edge-setting specialist. So they obviously need some guys back, but I theorized that since they were interested in Vita Vea, we know that the 49ers called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who didn't want to trade him. Since they were interested in Vita Vea, there was a pathway where the 49ers would strengthen the interior to strengthen the exterior, because it's all connected along the defensive line. That Vita Vea pathway, obviously not currently there anymore. Maybe it was never there if Tampa Bay didn't want to trade him. But Vita said he wanted to come to California. He apparently preferred settling things in Tampa Bay for the $30 million added in 2027. So tomorrow the 49ers are going to play the Chargers here at SoFi. SoFi is the 49ers' second home stadium. It's probably going to be a 49ers dominated crowd. We're going to get to see the starters, like the A-list guys, not all of them, but the vast majority of them, for a series tomorrow. Guys like Alfred Collins will probably play for a longer period of time. And I would like to see more from Alfred Collins than I did in the first preseason games. Coming off the shoulder surgery, probably has some conditioning to do, probably has to get his legs underneath him to some degree. So at some level, there has to be patience, but on another level, the 49ers do need to be better against the run on the interior than A, they were last year, and B, they were in the first preseason game and against the Chargers in practice yesterday. Let's get back to the defensive tackle position in a little bit. Let's talk about Christian McCaffrey. The very good news for him is that Kaelon Black looks absolutely legit. Christian, I think, would very much benefit from, I don't want to say a 1B running back. Christian would benefit from a competent number 2. Because we saw Christian put on 413 touches last season for the 49ers. That's a lot. It's a lot of workload for somebody who turned 30 years old just about a month ago. So Kaelon Black had been out with the adductor injury. This is the rookie out of Indiana. 49ers, because Christian had also been out with the tightness. No, he's not holding in, but he'd been out with the tightness. Christian McCaffrey had ceded way to a lot of running backs who weren't projected to make the 53-man roster, who weren't even on the team at the start of training camp, because Jordan James, another one of the backups, was also hurt. So you had this situation where guys like Khalil Herbert, Zamir White had come in. Sincere McCormick was taking some carries for the 49ers. The second that Kaelon Black returned to practice yesterday here in LA, and took his first carry, it just looked different. It popped because he's got a gear that the other backups don't have. He's got a gear that Jordan James doesn't have. Brock Purdy himself said you could feel the extra intensity once Kaelon Black took the field. And that's what we saw early in training camp. That's what we saw yesterday once he came back from the adductor injury. He caught a touchdown pass on a little angle route from Mac Jones. Or no, it was from Adrian Martinez in the red zone. The 49ers only scored once in the red zone yesterday. It wasn't their sharpest practice, but twice actually. They scored twice in the red zone. Once was Dejon Stribling over in the corner, and the second time was Kaelon Black from Adrian Martinez. And we know that he can run routes. He didn't have to do a whole lot of it at Indiana, but he did a lot of it at James Madison before then. We've seen him running routes at the Senior Bowl. We've seen him running routes when he's been available at 49ers practice, and he really is a multi-purpose back. I think they loved his ability to pass protect coming out of Indiana. He is a ball of muscle. The reason they hadn't been able to get Christian McCaffrey off the field was because they didn't have anybody who had a versatile enough skill set to enable them to confidently continue running the offense if he did come off. There was a play, oh boy, the sunset, look at that, the sailboat. Let's make sure the horizon line is straight, first of all. That's gonna bug the hell out of me if I rewatch this video and the horizon line isn't straight. But we're gonna give way to the sunset right now because there's a sailboat that's gonna be coming right in front of that sunset. I can't zoom it in on this side, so we're just gonna we'll keep it like this. Is that straight? Is that horizon line straight? I'm a bit OCD with this kind of stuff. Mike, give me a thumbs up if it is. But you guys can see that sailboat crossing right in front of it. That's a shot right there for you guys. Charles is saying it's much worse. I don't know if he's talking about the 49ers running back situation or the 180-degree angle I want there. I want a flat line. I want that thing to be horizontal across the screen. All right, they're saying that it's fine. I digress. I'm going to be off the camera for a bit so you guys can enjoy the sights. But Kaelon Black, the story that popped up in my head about Christian McCaffrey last year was that there was the game against Atlanta where the 49ers were running the hell out of him. They were running a lot of power, and I think their best rushing performance of the season. So Christian McCaffrey was a little bit tired. Down the stretch, the 49ers had moved the ball into the red zone, and it was 3rd and I think 12, 3rd and long. Christian McCaffrey was gassed, and he ran out to the sideline, kind of crossed over. He went to the sideline, and he was just standing there. He's like, well, it's 3rd and 12. I need a breather. I've been running the football 20-plus times today. Somebody else can take my spot on this 3rd and 12. But Kyle Shanahan had already called a play designed for Christian McCaffrey to be a receiver coming out of the slot. So he needed Christian to be in the game. Kyle needed Christian to be in the game. So he turned to Christian and he asked him, are you hurt? And Christian said, no, I'm not hurt. I'm just really tired. And Kyle said, well, run back out there. I don't care if you're tired. If you're not hurt, you need to be in on this play. It's going to be a little seam route from the slot. So Christian McCaffrey sprints back out onto the field, and the 49ers had Mac Jones as quarterback in that game against Atlanta. And lo and behold, they picked up 13 yards on 3rd and 12 because Mac Jones threw down the seam to Christian McCaffrey, who was winded, but he made the catch, and it set up a touchdown that sealed the game against the Atlanta Falcons. That one anecdote should tell you so much about how the 49ers have badly needed somebody like a Kaelon Black. Now somebody's saying I messed the sunset up. All right, you guys would rather watch the sunset than me, so I'm going to stand right here. The 49ers would rather, sorry, you guys would rather see the sunset, but the 49ers would have rather put Christian McCaffrey exhausted on the field last year than put in somebody else, especially in passing situations. Because Christian is so precise with his route running. Christian has the trust of all their quarterbacks that the 49ers were like, screw this, we're going to have Christian out there instead. Kaelon Black's route running is good enough, and Kaelon Black's pass protection is good enough, and I think his command of the playbook is getting there to the point where the 49ers, if Christian McCaffrey is gassed, are going to be able to give him a breather. Look, if I walk out this way, I don't ruin the sunset. It's a lot better. And the wireless mic is great. It's starting to get a little bit cooler here, but I'll tell you what, I can't get this weather on the beach in San Francisco right now. The closer I get, the more that it corrects. It's not good. You got to be like way back here. I haven't been able to swim in the ocean yet, but hopefully you guys can still hear me if I'm way back here. So anyway, the whole shuffling that the 49ers would like to do at running back is limited by a lack of quality when it comes to executing different tasks. So they need somebody like a Kaelon Black who is versatile to be able to take Christian McCaffrey off the field. Maybe Jordan James can be that guy as well after developing a year in the system, but I don't think that he has the same juice as Kaelon Black. Jordan James is probably, what, a 4.5, 4.6 40? Maybe even slower than that. Kaelon's a 4.4. Kaelon's a legit 4.4 guy, maybe a little bit underneath that. Kaelon has tremendous burst that you would not expect to see from someone who is a ball of muscle. He looks like he weighs 220 pounds. I know he's listed at 208, but you guys saw the videos that I put up yesterday of Kaelon Black, and it looks like he's a 220-pound bell cow out there. I mean, it looks like he can handle a lot of physical abuse and just continue churning forward. To that note, Kaelon Black averaged 3.2 yards after contact per carry last year at Indiana. It was one of the best numbers in the nation. So the dude is an absolute stud after contact. He's fast. He's got all the tools. We've seen it on that training camp field, and I think that it's fantastic news to preserve Christian McCaffrey. And there's good news on the Christian McCaffrey front too. He was out at practice yesterday, obviously not participating. I think the 49ers are bubble wrapping him at this point. Maybe we see him a couple more times out at practice, but probably not until week 1 as he deals with some of this tightness. He is not demanding a new contract. Will the 49ers sprinkle him some, more incentives? Maybe, but I mean, to be honest, they already gave him a fat check of about $11 million back in May. That was his option bonus for this season, actually back in March. That was due, I think, on around March 17th. So Christian McCaffrey's pay has already been dispersed and essentially solidified for this year. There was some talk, as I understand, early in the offseason about a longer extension beyond next season because Christian McCaffrey's under contract through 2027. But I'm not sure that the 49ers wanted to touch that quite yet. I think the 49ers want to wait until Christian McCaffrey gets closer to his lame duck year, which would be 2027. And if the season goes well for Christian this year, perfect for the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey. That's when you can really set up the big payday, maybe the final big payday of Christian McCaffrey's career. And I think that he is more likely to get to that if the 49ers have somebody to the 49ers have Kaelon Black out there to keep him fresh over the course of this season. Because the last time that we saw Christian put up a mass touch season, that was 2023. The Achilles tendonitis came in 2024. 2025, he was healthy again, and he put up even more touches than 2023. So you have to have some of that buffer in 2026. And I do think that Kaelon Black returning to practice, looking as good as he's looked, is a very big boost for the 49ers. Somebody said that the 49ers need another tight end. I'm not so sure. If they get George Kittle back, Luke Farrell has been catching a lot of passes, and they just paid Jake Tonjes about $4 million per year. Jake earned his first bigger deal in the NFL. I think that the 49ers have Kittle back, based on what I've seen from Farrell in this training camp. I think that they have enough for 13 personnel right now. Not like they have broadcast the desire to run 13 personnel. They may want to run more 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers. But I don't necessarily think that tight end is this dire need for the 49ers. So as long as George Kittle is back with his football team firing and fully healthy, and it looks like that's all on a good track. You know who else is now spending a ton of time in the tight end room, and it really has been over the course of his entire 49ers career? Kyle Juszczyk. The mountains back this way are awesome, by the way. Here, I have this up on the lifeguard tower. Look, there's even a helicopter circling around. I think we got to give you guys the scenes of the beach. There's the chopper, maybe with Arnold on it, since we're not far from where he lives in Santa Monica. They're looking for me. They're looking where this live is coming from, but you pan over toward Santa Monica and Malibu and Pacific Palisades, and you could see the hills there and the sun setting behind them. Just spectacular stuff. You know, this time of the year down here in August, because they don't have the fog, I think they have a little bit more of it in June. They call it the June gloom. It's Fogust up in San Francisco right now, but this time of the year is just perfect. It's a little hot. I was inland. I was like at the Grove and at Century City. It was a little hot there for my taste today, but this is ideal right now. And I think that the 49ers will be good at tight end because Kyle Juszczyk has given them quality snaps at tight end. I mean, he lined up more as a tight end last year than he did as a fullback. People forget how versatile Kyle Juszczyk is. I mean, he's a special player. And I think that it's time that a lot of the naysayers of Kyle Juszczyk really, really recognize that. I got to get this back on the lifeguard tower. So there was this icon here back in 2023 in December, and I'm really, really glad that I was able to come back and recreate it. Shout out to my buddy, one of the best basketball shooting specialists in the nation. He used to live right here, Marina del Rey. He's down in Orange County now. I think he's out in the Hamptons as we speak. He's made it big. He's got some NBA clients. The guy's really, really good at what he does. Leo Sveti, look him up. But anyway, I was staying with him back in 2023. The 49ers were late in the season on a run, and I came out here and I did a live from the beach, and it's one of the more fun lives that I've gotten to do. So now we're back here. Leo Sveti is my buddy's name. Leo space Svete. He's verified on Instagram. You could check him out. You could comment on his stuff. Tell him I said what's up. Too bad that he doesn't live in Marina. It's too bad that he's big time in everybody and he's out in the Hamptons right now. But I just walked by his old place down the street and I was like, damn, this brings me memories back from 2023. That was a fun year for the 49ers. I'm ready to answer some of your questions. I know that you guys, oh, he just texted me, but I don't think he's watching. He needs to tune in. All good. Hamptons are nice. I was there last year, but you know what? You can't beat California. They'll talk about their outdoor life on the East Coast, and then we show them this on the West Coast, and it's just at a different level. It really is. I think that's the Venice Beach Pier out there as well. Now people want to trade for Maxx Crosby. I guess that's going to be our next video. I don't know if the Raiders want to trade Maxx Crosby. They did, obviously, a few months ago. It seems to me that the position has shifted over there. But anything is possible once the season starts and the deadline approaches. And the deadline isn't going to be here until early November. So you can never say never in this league. The trades that we've seen is just a sign that stuff like this has become much, much more common, right? You see Dexter Lawrence changing teams from the New York Giants to the Bengals, and he got paid. You see, McCaffrey really started it all. It seems that was a massive, massive trade in 2022 when the 49ers sent all those picks over to the Carolina Panthers. It's much more commonplace now to see these big name trades, which is why we took it seriously when the 49ers checked in on Vita Vea. And even before they officially checked in, when he demanded a trade, well, that was obvious 49ers are interested kind of thing because the guy's a unicorn and the 49ers need to play the run better. They were number 26 against the run last year after Michael Williams went down, which goes to show you that the biggest weakness for the 49ers against the run is on the edge, but all positions can help ameliorate the problem, especially a unicorn like Vita Vea. Somebody asking me, does Mac Jones look worse this year than he did last year in training camp? Maybe a little bit. I thought he was a little bit shaky last year too. Here's the thing about Mac. The guy is a gamer. Like that, it was just, that way. Yeah, that way is going to be LAX. It was just down the road that way, SoFi Stadium by LAX, where Mac Jones came in on Thursday night with a skeleton crew. Kendrick Bourne was his top receiver, and he beat the big bad Rams, even though he was getting destroyed by the Rams pass rush. He was hobbling around. I don't care what Mac Jones does in training camp. Mac Jones has proven that he can do it in a real game. I think he's the best QB2 in the league. He showed it last year. He was top 10 QBR. Is he a great downfield thrower? No. Does he execute the offense? Is he tough as hell? Yes. Is that the best you can possibly hope for from your QB2 on the field? Double yes. Is it a bonus that the guy is beloved in the locker room and is absolutely hilarious? Triple yes. So anybody worried about Mac Jones not looking great at training camp, look at it with some perspective. Just like step back a little bit. Like look at it with some perspective and be like, you know what? This guy finished top 10 in QBR last year, and that's amongst all quarterbacks, including starters. 49ers are fortunate to have him. And they're also fortunate, looks like, to have Curtis Rourke, who played really, really well in that preseason game. Mike, what time is it? Or can people let me know the time? My watch, actually, I forgot to set it. I needed to set it, and I need to know because my phone is my watch, and I've got to get out to dinner. I got a dinner reservation. 7:40, all right. So we got a few more minutes, a few more questions. The goal was to see the whole sunset out here at Marina del Rey. A beautiful beach, a rather empty beach here in Southern California. You can see there's a guy on his foldable chair there, living his best life. People sailing. Water looks a little rough right now. I haven't gotten in the ocean. I'm going to get in the ocean tomorrow morning. Get a little swim in tomorrow morning, maybe in Manhattan Beach. The game's not till 7 tomorrow. Somebody asking, is Alfred Collins playing too high? I would say so. I mean, when you're 6'7", it's hard not to play too high. I think in the Raheem Morris defense, especially since there's a little bit more put on every lineman if they're going to be running some 3-4 stuff, they like a defensive tackle, the fire hydrant, the low to the ground, the very stout types, not Upton stout. You don't want him playing defensive tackle, but Alfred's that's going to be a challenge for him his entire football career. Any tall defensive tackle, it's about keeping the pad level low. You need to have that leverage against linemen who are going to be trying to get underneath your pads and drive you backwards. It's a game of physics. It's a game of geometry, but mainly physics. And it's challenging for those tougher D tackles. Now, the thing about Alfred Collins is if he can learn how to stay low and then spring up when he needs to, he broke up almost as many passes as Jahdae Barron in college, as his cornerback teammate, a first-round pick. So he could be a force at that line of scrimmage with his height, but he's also got to deliver against the run, and that starts with leverage. So it's almost like a paradox, right? You want to stay low, but also be able to get high against the pass, right? And it's one of those tricky things, and that's why you don't see crazy height all too often at the defensive tackle position. All right, if you guys have any questions, put them in now because I'm going to have to get going. Will the 49ers need to sign a free agent for left guard? Well, I did a whole show on that for the Manhattan Beach Pier yesterday, so go and watch that. Right now, Kyle Shanahan not thrilled with any of the 3 options at that left guard position. Bosa is not on the last year of his contract, no. Somebody saying he's on the last year of his contract. Nick is on the last year with guaranteed money on his deal, but there's still team control for a couple of years beyond this one. What's for dinner? I will let you guys know tomorrow. I don't like to let people know where I'm going to dinner before I go. Privacy reasons, but I will let you know tomorrow. It's going to be, I'm really excited. It actually has a 49ers tie. I'll let you guys, I saw John Lynch and a bunch of guys at dinner last night. down in Manhattan Beach. And I'll let you guys know what's for dinner in a little bit. But I've got to roll. So I'm going to finish this up by getting this out of the lifeguard tower. Tripod barely fits. Giving you guys a spin around to the sunset. Everybody, thanks for watching. We will talk to you very soon. 49ers play a game tomorrow. We'll see ya.